actually going to do a quick video on what's happening in the current scenario of the pandemic COVID-19, and how is it affecting all those people who have actually lost their jobs, and people who have lost millions of people have lost their jobs. It's quite stressful. It's quite frustrating. It's quite kind of a feeling that, I mean, why me? It's a kind of a feeling that's actually affecting you. I would like to tell all those people who are suffering from job loss and who have already felt the heat of it, that if it's been about 3 months or more than 3 or 4 months that you've been jobless, or you've been out of job, but you've been actually put on an unpaid leave, or I mean, listen, I mean, all this literally affect us. I mean, if you have to go through, and if you are on that spot, it's a very painful thing. I completely understand. But let me talk to you from the perspective of employers. A crisis can happen anytime. A pandemic can happen anytime. Any kind of crisis can happen. A war between the countries can happen. I mean, I've gone through a situation in my life before where I was in one of the Middle East countries where there was a war. There was a social war. There was a social instability. I mean, all these things can happen. I mean, you can probably do, economic slowdown can happen. I mean, recession can happen. Pandemic like COVID-19 can happen. I mean, natural calamities can happen. Floods can happen. Anything can happen at any point of time. Please understand. So in today's scenario, I mean, when you face crisis, it's quite natural that, of course, some industries like travel, hospitality, retails, these industries would have, restaurant service industries, all these industries would have definitely suffered big time in COVID-19. But it doesn't mean that crisis stops hiring. No, during crisis time, hiring does take place. Now there are in scenarios where when some industries suffer, there are some industries which thrive. Now today, if you look at it, I mean, industries which thrive very much is IT and digital, healthcare, pharmacies, delivery services, security services, safety services, hygiene and sanitation services, cleaning services, housekeeping services, laundry services. I mean, there's so many industries actually which are actually thriving. Of course, I mean, your travel is suffering. Of course, your airlines and ticketing and seasonal businesses like hotels and hospitality is suffering big time. I mean, they all must be going through a tough time. But this is the time that if you have lost your job, you need to understand what is that those industries which are hiring today is looking for. Let me just put this into a couple of points. One is today, the need of the hour is, are you virtual? Can you be a virtual worker? Can you be a virtual worker? Do you have the potential to be flexible, adapting to anything that is virtual? Like, for example, call centers, service call centers. There are a lot of people, lot of industries today need people who can actually be on the phone, be online, be more virtually. I mean, can you work away from the office? Can you work away from people? I mean, so do you have the skill of telephones handling? Do you have the skill of computers? Do you have the skill of working on emails? Do you have the skill of working on Microsoft applications? Are you virtually very vibrant? Are you virtually very extremely skilled? I mean, that's what today's in today's scenario, you have to be a virtual performer. Now, so that, which means that you can imagine the kind of skills that you need to develop for you to be a virtual performer, as someone who's very much glued on to understanding the nuances of the virtual working platforms. So that's one. Secondly, people look for, are you a fast learner? Today, the hiring managers for companies that are hiring is, everything is changing. And today, it's new normal. It's new normal. Absolutely new normal. People who hire are not going to go through not going to go through the usual age-old methods of recruitment and hiring. It's all going to change, because it has to change, because the talents out there is quite different. So you as a prospective job seeker need to know whether are you a fast learner, because today the interviewers are going to look for it, that are you a fast learner. Why do you need to be a fast learner? Because you need to be a fast learner because you could probably be fitting into some other industry, but you have certain talents. Can I hire you and you have the right vibes in you to be a quick learner? You have the right attitude, you have the right perspective, you have the right persona, and you have the right energy. Can I teach you fast? Can I teach you the job that I'm hiring you for? And do you have the ability to be a quick learner, fast learner? That's another thing that I would looking. The third thing which most of the hiring people would look at is high functioning. Are you a high functioning? What do you mean by high functioning? There are a lot of people who would love chaos. I'm one of them. They perform at their best when the chaotic situations are there. They are people who like to clean up everything, just be more organized, get the chaos out and get it more organized. After that, for them, the job becomes boring. Today, the hiring industry, the hiring executives look for people who can be high functioning. They're high functioning people. When crises happen, how are you? Are you able to actually cope up with this crisis? Are you a high performing guy during the crisis? Who doesn't actually get threatened by the chaos, threatened by the crises that are happening around, but you are on top of it, and you are someone who is flexible, who's adaptable. Who can fit himself wherever it is, and who doesn't get disappointed by the crisis, but who just jumps into it and get things sorted out and work very actively. You have to be someone like that, and you will be mostly preferred by today's hiring managers. And the last but main is the value perspective. Are you someone who finds who adds value to the success of the organization, or are you someone who doesn't create values in terms of who doesn't really bother much about the profit of the organization? Is your work going to add value? Do you have the skills where you can add value? Do you have the skills where you can bring in, touch the bottom lines of the organization? That's what companies today are looking for it. So if you are a person who is confined to what you were doing earlier, morning till 9 to 5 kind of a job, and you were just a very mundane kind of an person who haven't really spread your wings to various opportunities of learning, then you're going to suffer a lot. Then you're really going to suffer a lot. Today, you also may have to tweak your resumes to something much with some, wherein you show your flexibility, you show your adaptability, you show your talents that could fit into all these industries which are hiring today. Digital industry is prospering big time. Today, everything is about remote. Everything is about IT. Everything about technology. Everything about. You can ask me. How would a service person or a hospitality person would fit into a technology? Why not? Why not? Today, you could be hired for call centers. Today, you could be hired for retails. Supermarkets, groceries. Hypermarkets, healthcare, pharmacies, all these industries are hiring. Why can't a hospitality person fit into a pharmacy? Why not? You could fit into online pharmacies. You could fit into healthcare. You could fit into handling the patient relationships. You could fit into maybe a technology company where the technical experts wouldn't have the right skill of communicating with their prospective clients, but then you could fit in there. A service person can fit in there. I mean, that's this tremendous amount of opportunities available. But imagine you are a service person and you have the technical knowledge about how CCTV works, or how artificial intelligence works, or how certain technology which is used in offices or operations, or any kind of services work. I mean, if you have somebody, if you're a knowledgeable person in all these things, even if a little knowledge that you have, and you show that adaptability, you will be the most preferred candidate in today's scenario. So I'm just ending this video by saying that expand your horizons, expand your skills, be more flexible. Don't try to confine yourself to that one single skill that you've been actually practicing all this while. No, you got to move. You got to change. You got to move out of it. You got to be a game changer today. If you want to be in a job after being out of a job, don't get back to the old practices of just waiting for the right thing to happen. No, you have to be a game changer. InspireBee, my humble organization, is always there to help all those job seekers. Whatever help that we can do in terms of polishing your resumes, and helping and guiding and coaching those people who are into searching for a professional change, or a kind of a entry into a job, or whatever. I mean, or you just want to just talk to us. InspireBee is always my humble organization is always there to help and support those people, absolutely at no cost. This is the service that InspireBee has taken it, and your fulfillment, your happiness, and your growth is our service fee. That's what InspireBee is all about. Well, this is a commitment that InspireBee has given it for some time, just to ensure that, I mean, there's a possibility of helping and supporting a lot of people in the community. So until we all come out of this pandemic situation. Thank you very much. Feel free to get in touch with InspireBee at any point of time. Thank you so much.